If the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say this was their finest hour.
We stand for Queen,
country, and video games. BRB UK.
Worse teeth,
better accents.
Hello and indeed ahoy hoy, ladies and or gentlemen, or anyone in between, and or anyone who doesn't fit any of those boxes, because, well, everyone's welcome really. I made that more awkward than was strictly necessary, so let's get on with...
Sometimes it's more fun not to interrupt you.
I haven't even bloody got to the name of the podcast and you're speaking already. Jesus! It's BRB UK. It's episode 264. I am Dan. Tim can't keep quiet. Can you, Tim?
No! I never have and never will.
Shut up.
You
shut
can't
up.
stop the signal, Dan.
Well, I could just hang up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could. Then we'd just have a completely out of sync podcast. It'd be marvellous. Talking of people who aren't quite aware of what's going on, Coleman's been asleep. No, he's not been asleep.
He's not been asleep. That's the
awake
problem.
for 28 hours, Coleman. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling super groovy, cool, fine, absolutely one jibbly doubly.
You've reached the delirium stage of sleep deprivation, then?
That's right, Giant Ice Lolly. I really have. And it's great to be here on the Giant Bombcast.
Yay, brilliant. Well, anyway, I'm Brad. I wonder who would be who if we were to be transferred into...
I'd be Tarquin.
Good.
What?
Yeah. Okay. Tim would be Mr. Philpott, wouldn't he, Coleman?
I don't know. I listened to it, but I don't know who's who.
So, Coleman, why have you been awake for 28 hours?
I finished work, and then a friend of mine was in town, so I met up with him, and then I came straight back to do this show. And I've just been awake for a very long time. It's not for Extra Life.
Problems of working in a top secret nuclear submarine base.
Top secret.
But aren't you defeating the point of something being top secret by telling people you work in something top secret, thereby making them more interested in what you do and more likely to follow you, and therefore more likely...
Because I don't actually work in a nuclear submarine, and therefore
we
the secret is safe.
A nuclear submarine, a nuclear submarine, a nuclear submarine.
Don't encourage him, Dan. He'll go off on any tangent at the moment. Any tangent, anywhere.
What's your favourite tangent, Coleman?
The small orange fruit.
That's tangerine, you muppet.
Ah, balls. The guy who's in Kingsman.
Yay, there we go. That's Taron, but that's close enough. That's Taron Egerton.
No, that's the spice that you use.
What, Egerton?
No, tarragon.
Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Those are the scaly things that bring fire.
Anyway, Coleman. Okay.
Yep.
Can you just like if you put a box over Coleman's head, would he go to sleep? Do you reckon?
Probably at this point.
You just put it over his head if we need quiet time, Tim.
Dreaming about the majestic gazebo running through the plains of Africa.
Excellent. A gazebo, not gazelle.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Good. Good.
I don't think he should be drinking alcohol at this stage. What's your medical opinion on that, Dan?
But Tim, frankly, in for a penny, in for a pound. The incremental effect that booze is going to have on him now is going to change him from being a bit of a gob to an utter gob. So,
you heard it here first, kids. This is medicine, according to a professional.
There's a reason I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, I say we conduct a medical experiment right here.
Right.
And, see where this goes. Maybe record it.
That's
Maybe
what we're already
challenge him
doing,
to talk
Tim.
about video games.
Can I tell you about something I saw today?
What did you see today, Coleman?
Unless it was imaginary, in which case.
I was in Trafalgar Square today, and they...
Did you see a pigeon?
No, I went for to go check out the big Lego store they got
Well,
there
you're
now.
in Trafalgar Square and you didn't see a pigeon.
Well, they're everywhere.
Exactly.
But there's
I already don't believe this story.
I don't know if you guys have seen, next to the M&M world, there's like a giant Nickelodeon store.
M&M? I didn't even know he had a world.
Nah. And that's been shut down and boarded up, and they've put like an eviction notice on there. But it's really weird because you can see him through the windows, and it's like everything's all grey and dark and boarded up. And then just off in the distance, you can see like these giant props from SpongeBob, like a pineapple and stuff. And it's kind of, it's like the death of a clown sort of thing. It's like when Noel Edmonds' theme park got shut down, and every 10 years someone goes back and takes photos of the vandalised Blobby World. That's kind of how
Wow.
it for today felt for me.
Well, you go to dark places when you're a bit weirded out, don't you, Coleman? Coleman's favourite amusement park in Chernobyl is... Jesus. Oh, Christ, right. Well, the reason why we're talking even more nonsense than usual is that there is actually naff all news, really.
Naff all.
Naff all. A different word was used in the agenda, but I chose to use naff all.
That's good.
I thought so.
My time that goes into cursing out swear words, then...
Cursing out swear words.
So you get a swear word and you put another layer of sweariness on it.
That's exactly how it happens. Then I have to beep that one.
So you're going to bleep out with git or something?
Yes.
Good.
Right.
I've completely forgotten where we were going from this.
VR. Tim loves VR.
I do love it.
I've heard this.
Yes, Tim will not shut up about VR. So you would imagine he would be exceptionally excited when Facebook CEO the Zuck, TM.
The Zuck.
The Zuck!
Is that what you call him in like behind closed doors when you go meet
Z-Dog.
Is that
Z-Dog.
what you call him when you're playing squash?
He's not really, he's more of a racquetball kind of guy than
Racquetball, okay,
squash,
sorry.
I think.
Oh yeah, I was just down the country club playing racquetball with the Zuck.
I mean,
With the
I'll tell you what, he loves the biscuit game, though. That's his favourite.
Whoa! Why'd you go there?
Just to freak you out, Tim.
What's the biscuit game, Dan?
The biscuit game, wow.
Is that like Limp Bizkit, like the band?
Well, you do get a limp biscuit at the end, yes.
Oh, I know what we're talking about.
There we go.
No, you don't encourage him. No.
Limp Bizkit style.
Oh God.
John Otto, take it to the Matthews Bridge.
Anyway, the Zuck, Z-Dog,
Yeah.
Captain Digestive, or whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
I call him Mark Berg.
The Markberg.
Yeah, it's like Goldberg.
Zark Muckerberg? Makes him sound like something out of Hitchhiker's Guide or something, doesn't it?
Yes, that does actually.
Anyway, so Facebook CEO and founder Zaphod Beeblebrox today
Have we
revealed...
just discovered he's an alien?
Yes. They've revealed a new Oculus headset today.
Yes.
Excited?
Always.
Very mildly.
Why only mildly, Tim?
Because...
Well, is it because it's a standalone headset that is almost certainly going to be underpowered?
Basically, yes. I mean, it's something where, for me, this makes more sense than the mobile phone approach, at least. Having a separate screen and it being a slightly separate device, I think is a generally better idea than trying to use a phone.
Why?
Because I don't think it'll heat up as much.
Why?
Well, because it just doesn't have as many other apps and stuff possibly running at the same time and all that type of stuff. And it's something you can better equate for when you've got, set parameters of how much a phone heats up, basically. But also, I think it's a fundamentally bad idea to have a phone screen that close to you and it be locked away from the phone functions. Like, you don't want your face to ring, is basically the point I'm getting.
Might be fun.
It's not a pleasant experience.
Have you had your face rung before, Tim?
Yes, and it's not good.
I feel like mine's vibrating at this point.
Yeah, it's because, thanks, Colin.
Whoa.
Anyway.
And I think the price point is an interesting point in itself. I think they're talking $399 or £199. And
What? How many dollars, Tim?
$399,
Yes,
because I know how much you like that.
$399.
And £199.
For this beautiful three-piece suite.
Now
Nothing
with
to
free
pay
delivery.
for 1 year.
Now with free delivery, but a secret £50 charge. We will sell you a sofa that doesn't actually have legs on it.
Have we said at any point that this is called the Oculus Go as well? I don't know. But...
It is called the Oculus Go. Now, this is a bit odd, because Oculus Go, it kind of implies it's portable, something you can use on the go, but as we all know, wearing a virtual reality headset on your face is not compatible with being a normal person in any way or shape
I have
or
seen
form.
many a people on the tube wearing a Samsung Gear.
Really?
Yeah.
And each time it takes me a lot of restraint not to just kick him in the balls when we get to the stop. Like run out the door. Who did that?
Or just go out and go, the next station will be... And then just the Morden. And I go, oh, God, I've missed my stop.
I just very carefully go up to there and go, do you giggle when they say cockfosters?
Or just go to,
I do.
How's the point of view porn you're watching? Is it good? We know what you're watching.
I've been watching you for 10 stops now.
Well, It's definitely a slightly weird thing to do on the tube, but as you say, people do.
Yes, it is. You're quite right.
No, like use VR, but it kind of makes more sense on like an aeroplane or something.
Well, to be fair, it's probably preferable to the visual onslaught that is being on the tube in rush hour.
Yeah, that's also true.
In some ways, that's actually one of the use cases VR I can see.
I mean, most people just stare at their screens anyway. It just means no one else can watch what you're watching.
There have been practical uses of the portable VR stuff with the Samsung Gear. I've seen a lot of Six Flag videos over in the US where they'll set up roller coasters with videos that are in time with the roller coaster, so you get the experience of flying or something. And then they'll put little games in there where you're using the you got slight head tracking, and then a little button on the side that you can use to like fire at objects while you're going along the roller coaster. That kind of stuff. I can kind of
see VR on the tube to be a recipe for vomit, really. Because your brain's going to be getting...
Doesn't go that fast.
Yeah. Har, har, har. It would be like your brain, your vestibular system knows you're moving in one axis, but you'll be thinking you're either standing still or rotating in another axis from VR. Anyway, we're getting a bit off point here.
Can you say vestibular, like a slow, sexy voice?
Vestibular.
Well, see, yeah, it's an odd feeling when you were playing Rush of Blood and you're on a roller coaster in that game and it goes down the dip and you get kind of some of the sensations without like the stomach churning.
Are those sensations vestibular?
Possibly. You'd have to come and give your medical opinion on that, Dan.
They almost certainly are. I can tell you that now.
Well done.
Yes. Kind of my thought on this, right? So you're buying yet another device. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yet another device. And we'll come on to the problems of what's the screen going to be like, what's the horsepower of it going to be like, what's the battery life going to be. We'll come to that in a minute. But how much does a Gear VR cost, roughly?
Like £120.
120 quid.
Something like that. They usually come with phones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And
like
this
bundles.
is coming in, they reckon, at around 200 quid.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
So that's actually not as bad as I was thinking. I was like, if it was like 70 quid versus 200 quid, then I've said there's no point to this thing existing. But it does seem to come with... So you've got the headset, which has got science in it, and then there's like a kind of a weird shrunk-down version of what appears to be the Oculus Touch controller, where it's essentially like half a Steam pad is how I would describe it, where it's like a round touchpad surface and some kind of triggery thing to shoot the pew-pews with and stuff.
Pew-pews, eh?
The pew-pews. But there is...
just checking because I was a bit suspicious, but yeah, it does look like you can get a Samsung Gear for a bit cheaper than that, basically.
Yeah,
more
how
like
cheap is cheaper?
Well, the prices I'm seeing are a bit of a range, but it looks like about £85 would be there.
Is that for the latest model?
£90. Probably not.
Okay.
Let's have a look at that.
I mean, is it weird? Are they kind of competing with themselves in a really weird way here?
No, I think this enables them to bring, well, at least port or have some available of their existing library onto a slightly different platform and possibly a slightly different audience. Okay, £120 is looking...
Yes, I was right.
Yeah, so yeah.
Bosh.
New one.
But, I mean, is this for people? Presumably they're trying to go after people who just want to see what VR's like. They want to try it out in a low risk way.
Consumer VR.
But there are cheaper solutions. There's Google Cardboard if you really just want to see what all this VR fuss is about.
As I said, that for me, it's not a bad thing to just like have a look at and experiment with for a couple of minutes. It's not a long-term viewing solution or gaming solution for mine.
But at this price point, I'm trying to struggle how this would be a good, quote-unquote, long-term solution.
I think it's just, as I said, kind of just stretching and seeing how far that can go as a slightly separate device. I also think, as Coleman said, it's got other use cases. It's not just the fact that you can do like roller coasters and like corporate entertainment type stuff, but also it's something that makes it much more presentable, a much more approachable price for a nice piece of kit where you don't have to have a phone and worry about charging the phone separately and all that type of stuff. For like a variety of customers, like as in, as I said, corporate events, but then also possibly some, I wouldn't say maybe not medical uses, maybe that's something you can attest to, Dan, I don't know, but then there are like industry type uses and training purposes and all that type of stuff that opens this up because it doesn't have the wiring problem of hooking up to have a PC hooked up for everyone type of thing. And it's, as I said, a more approachable price point for that type of stuff. And I actually see, as I said, I think it can have gaming applications, and that's definitely the case. But I actually see this being something aimed more at the industrial and corporate events and all that type of stuff. More than, because I think it's just an all-in-one device that simplifies the presentation of that to a lot of people, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I sorry, just to jump in on that. I remember I used to work with a contractor, and one of the jobs he was working on as well as web development was he was like working for estate agents essentially. And he was going out and scanning houses to make like a virtual mock-up so that it could be used in virtual reality. And I remember because he was bending my ear about VR and stuff, and I gave him my Google Cardboard so he could sort of get an idea of using it on the phone and seeing like what practical applications with Samsung Gear would be. So I can imagine like this for virtual tours and things, that would be a perfect thing.
Which is good if you're selling to clients abroad, especially, and stuff like that. So, which, that's where most of London's estate agents probably sell these days, or well, in some degree.
I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it performs at that price point. But is it going to be trying to be a jack of all trades and a master of none? But just the form factor is straight up limiting the amount of computing horsepower it's going to have. I mean, it's not going to be more powerful than a phone. True, you don't have to worry about your phone ringing your face and all that nonsense. But
I also, as I said, if you use this type of thing at an event or something where you're showing clients or something where it's got easy access to the public type thing, you have to worry about, like, you might have to tether this to something so it doesn't go walkabout, but you don't have to worry about someone nicking the phone out of the front of it. You don't have to worry about the phone having charge and being put in the headset the right way, and you know what I mean. Like there's just lots of things that having an all-in-one unit simplifies, basically. So,
I mean, I think the real question is going to be what's the quality of the screen going to be? I mean, they're saying it's kind of a 1440p panel in there, I think. So that's not bad. But the real thing is going to be what's battery life like, and how hot does it get on your face?
But I think that's one thing where when you're just tailoring it to this one specific purpose, I don't think. I think both of those things will be better than it would be with a phone equivalent, basically.
Well, we shall see. Dev unit's going out in November, apparently, and quite apparently it's going to be sideways compatible or something with all the Gear VR titles. But we'll see what it ends up doing. But Tim, you're right. I mean, there's obvious uses beyond gaming, but. Yeah, they don't really sit on their website. They don't really seem to be majorly going for that.
But that's not something they have to particularly push or advertise on that thing. But I almost guarantee it's part of their business plan with this sort of design.
I still remain unconvinced, and I shall remain unconvinced forever because I'm a miserable git. Well, the only other news we've got here, we are really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
We are scraping the barrel. The big red barrel.
Yeah. On brand.
PlayStation are announcing
PlayStation.
They're
Really
announcing
for time this week, boys. Well done.
They've got some new officially licensed products, Coleman. Yes, they have. They have officially licensed products.
They do. Controllers.
They do. Yeah, small ones.
Closer, tiny controller.
My favourite one is, so there's three. There's the Nacon wired compact controller, which looks like a little baby version of their Pro controller.
Yep.
Complete with, no longer has the...
Doesn't have the swappable buttons.
The Xbox style thumbstick D-pad switch, which its big brother does.
No, that's for the Pro controller only.
The Pro controller. At Play,
they made an Ouya controller.
Good.
Yep.
That was decidedly average.
Decidedly average, Tim. You are right. And then there's also the hoary wired mini gamepad, which looks like you would only use if you hate your hands.
I mean, if you've got a Switch,
have you seen how close together the thumbsticks are? And it's actually got the no. There's something else I want to draw attention. It's actually got the tiniest touchpad known to man.
I've just seen that. I didn't realise.
Yeah, look at that. How cute is that? Isn't that
Even
silly?
the PlayStation button is miniaturized.
I've got two theories as to why this controller exists. Either
People with tiny little hands.
you prefer the game selection on the PlayStation over to the Switch, but you really, really like having tiny, wanky controllers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or this is perfect size for like smaller children.
The only thing I will say, and I don't know if this is, hopefully this isn't overly racially profiling, but it's a Japanese company.
You're going to say the Asian market?
I know where he's going with this.
They do have a history of developing smaller pads for Japan. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, if you remember the Xbox Duke.
We're already...
Yeah. And as I said, Hori's a company. That's, in a way, even though I don't like the look of it, it's the one I'm most interested in just having a go on kind of thing, I think.
I think all of these pads looks like my mate's coming over and that's his pad.
Yeah, exactly. They're the ones that are always going to have kind of like Marmite slightly smeared into the joints on them.
Yeah, thumbstick doesn't quite work right. Like it's got stiff and you put some talcum powder in there to loosen it, but it's still not working properly.
You know when Electronic Boutique was still an active company?
Back in the 70s. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, my favourite shop.
I've read it in history books.
The 2000s, but I'm just saying. But, you know, they used to have some of their own products.
Yes.
If all of these pads had the word, Electronic Boutique on them, or Tesco, like, I wouldn't be at all surprised. They may be good quality things. I'd like to actually get my hands on them and see, but they don't look good.
You can pick up a genuine DualShock 4 for, what, 40 quid?
Yeah, that's generous.
45.
Yeah, 45, 50 quid.
Yeah.
Well, I picked one up for 40.
Depends where you go.
Recently. I went to Amazon.
Ooh.
Oh.
Check out you and your sexy Amazon deals.
Yeah. I know.
Did you Prime on that? Did you get Prime now? Did you get it within 2 hours?
No, because they don't do Prime now in Slam because we're not in civilization. We're not in civilization.
But you don't get Uber Eats either.
We do get Uber, though, surprisingly.
Yeah, we don't anymore.
We do for now.
Yeah. Although I can't actually get into London there by robbing it.
Not yet. Not until they build that Elizabeth line. Then you got no excuse, mate.
I know.
Well, I have to say this is a shame because it's the one thing Xbox do well. The one definite thing for me that Xbox seem to have done better than Sony is produce a high quality pad alternative for people that don't just want the basic one that you can get with it. Kind of.
Yeah, like I get the idea of licensing to these third party controllers and going, these are the official PlayStation third party controllers. But at the same time, they just look a bit naff, and they're all wired controllers as well. I don't want a wired controller anymore. I'm not in the fighting game scene. If I was in the fighting game scene, I'd probably want a Pro Pad rather than a mini pad.
Yeah, or a fight stick.
Can't remember where I was fully going with this, but anyway, yeah.
Good.
I like that Xbox have their official pads, and if PlayStation were to, if they are to keep licensing out to third party, why not approach like a company like is it Scuzz Pads? Scum Pads? What are they?
Scuff. Scuff is one of the companies. Shark as well. Those kind of people.
Like one of the big boy controllers, and then you go, hey, make an official PlayStation controller. We'll slap a logo on it. And
I think it's probably just sheer volume and scale, possibly. In terms of worldwide distribution and stuff. I don't know if that's the case, but that would be my guess.
Well, it depends what price point they set it at, really.
£1,000.
£1,000. They will sell precisely 0 of them at £1,000. Yes. But you have had 28 hours without sleep, Coleman, so your opinion is null and void.
28 and a half.
But, the Xbox One Elite controller is a fantastic bit of kit. Part of why it's a fantastic bit of kit is that it works seamlessly with PCs as well. And I can kind of see that if you wanted just an alternative way to, hook a game, you wanted a cheapish game controller for like your Android tablet or something like that, this kind of stuff makes a lot of sense, presuming it works with it. But we don't know that yet.
Well, it's wired, so it probably doesn't.
I'd be interested if that was it the Nacon, the blue one, I think, Nacon wired combat controller. I'd be interested in that's got a better D-pad that doesn't completely and utterly wear a hole in my thumb when I'm playing fighting games. But
That's because you can't use thumbsticks properly.
yeah, it's probably
You're a bit
true.
special, Tim.
Possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't help that you hold like the side of the controller in your mouth while you're trying to play.
There was a controller I was looking at on Amazon the other day that I
vibrate.
did like the look of, but
Marvellous. Well, that's the news.
Very loose term of the news. That's a couple of product advertisements that we're not getting paid for.
yeah, no. See, we're doing this the wrong way round.
Yeah, we are a bit, aren't we?
We should turn it into an advert and see if they pay us. Is that how this works?
That's also the wrong way round.
Oculus Go.
You go.
Wear a VR headset out in the wild and get kicked in the balls by a guy on the tube.
Kick in the balls. The ball
Who's
kickage comes
possibly
free.
Coleman.
I'm just checking, see if there's anything.
There's nothing. I've looked.
There must be something.
We're halfway through the show. Let's just go.
There must be something, Coleman.
We've got lots of games to talk about, Dan. Let's talk about
the
that.
games.
Oh, righty, let's talk about the games.
Yay!
Amazon still hasn't shipped some SNES Mini Classic pre-orders. That news?
No one cares.
Well, I would like one.
Yeah, but you haven't ordered one. You would care if you ordered one.
Yeah.
Well, there's no bloody option because they were in stock. No, I did the stock checker thing. They were in stock on Games' website for precisely 47 seconds the other day.
Oh, I put a picture up on Twitter, and the SNES Mini Classic, whatever you call it, I spotted one of those for £160 in
Whoa.
CEX.
Jesus.
Scalping Dicks. It's the name of my indie band.
Anywho, let's talk about games we don't play.
Hooray!
Yay.
Talk about Dead Cells finally,
The Dead
Dan.
Cells. The Dead Cells is a game I've been playing on PC
Hooray!
because I'm one of those people now.
Yeah, you're one of the elite.
I wouldn't go that far. One of the great unwashed. My neckbeard is coming along well. You'll be pleased to hear.
Very good, very good.
I know. That's part of being in the club. And I've developed weapons grade body odor. So
Good.
Do
Yeah,
you
it's very
lift
nice.
your fedora slightly and say, "Milady"?
Milady. Vestibular.
Wow.
That's not even a dirty word, Tim.
I remember at Res,
Exactly when you say it, Dan.
at EGX Res at Tobacco Dock, they have like a 2-level thing going in quite open plan spaces, and you can look down to the bottom level from the top. And I just remember seeing like this big circular crowd gathering around one quite large neck-bearded man wearing a fedora. It's like, is he someone special? It's like, he is the king of the neckbeards. I have no idea to this day who he was. It might have been Jontron. I don't know.
Could have been. Could have been Plugel. Remember him? Yes. So now that I'm on that gravy train,
Oh yeah,
I've been
Dead
playing-
Cells.
The Dead Cells is a rather excellent little game. It's currently in the early access program on Steam, and I think it costs about 16 quid. I mean, it's not been in the, compared to, look, if you look at how long stuff tends to spend in early access, it's not been that long, really. I mean, it's, yes, a long time, but compared to everything else, not that long.
It's been about 6 months, 5-6 months.
Yeah, which is fine. And they are genuinely being very good, the developers, about providing regular updates, roadmaps of when features are going to be introduced, actively seeking player feedback, having an alternate kind of beta test realm thing where they can try new stuff and get people to mess around with it. But at its core, it's a Metroidvania
roguelike.
The Metroidvania roguelike. So
Roguelike-vania.
Roguelike-vania. Yeah, I mean, it's an excellent little game. I mean, at its core, it's a very challenging platformer. But yeah, and there's also a bit of a Dark Souls aspect to it as well.
That's how I describe it. It's Dark Souls, the Metroidvania.
Yes, that's an excellent way to put it. And I mean, it's kind of the visual style. Surprise, surprise! It's kind of 16-bit pixel art, but it's done very,
beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's done very, very well. And there's a really, kind of behind it all, there's a very nice lighting engine, which really kind of adds to the atmosphere of the game. So the basic setup is, you're a person who's had their chopped off, some fungus comes and invades your body, you're alive again, and you're not very happy about it. So
a normal Sunday then.
So you're running around killing the mans. There's a massive variety of enemies, all of whom have, specific attacks that you need to learn the tells for. But it's tough, but it feels fair. And the platforming in the game and the combat is really, really, really crisply done. And what they've quite rightly done is kind of get the foundations of the game sorted, and now they're building on it. And the music's great, the gameplay's great, the visual style is great. They could do with a bit more explaining of how kind of the upgrades and the investment system works, because at the moment you kind of collect, well, for want of a better term, souls, which you then pile into after every level. You come across a guy who ostensibly is Zur from Destiny. You give him the shiny things, and those essentially are kind of points toward unlocking stuff. But you don't, as far as I can work out, get it immediately. It's like when it drops in the world, it will tend to be a more powerful version of it. So there isn't the kind of rogue legacy persistent side of things yet, but it's a very... I think the best way to say is that it feels it's a challenge, but it's a fair challenge. It's never cheap.
But you need to be
and it really does change up the kind of the level design quite nicely, and there's lots of different routes you can take, and I think it's a real triumph actually, and it's well worth checking out, even though it's still in early access. I think it's an excellent little game.
I really hope it comes to the Switch.
Do you need to be kind of improving your skills throughout the game, or can you improve like by leveling stuff up?
Nope, you just need to get good
just your
scrub.
skills kind of thing. Yeah,
It's definitely the Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne mentality to it in a 2D game.
I was trying to avoid using one of those terms, but okay.
Yeah, I mean the only thing is, like I said, the upgrades that you can kind of pour kind of the Souls-esque currency into. All that does is really when and if that item drops in the real world, it will tend to drop at a more powerful level.
But permanently, or just for that run?
Yeah, permanently.
Okay, permanently. So there is a bit of persistence to it.
Yeah, but there's a lot of grinding to get that going. But I think it's a cracking little game. I really do. And I think if the Vita wasn't dying its death, it would be a great fit for the Vita, and I suppose the heir apparent to the Vita, the Switch, it will be excellent on that as well. So I give it all the thumbs up. I'd even grow an extra arm to give it another thumbs up if I could, but I can't, so there.
3 thumbs up?
3 thumbs up. Three thumbs up out of 2 is how many I'll give it.
It's a very good game, and I particularly like the treasure chest you can find. Because sometimes it's a gamble whether you're going to grab a treasure chest and go, "Ooh, lots of cool loot," or sometimes the treasure chest is going to turn into a mouth and then just bite your arm and lose health. I like those.
Indeed.
He likes cruel treasure.
I like cruel treasure.
Also, hungry chests.
Hungry chests.
Hungry chests.
Hungry chests.
Hungry
Hungry
chests.
for justice.
Yes.
Arms, mainly, actually.
Yeah.
Teams.
Hey guys, you spoke about the Forzas and the Project Cars last week.
I did preach about them. Testify, brother.
I believe you both. I believe you both. Playing
Dan,
the sport of the Gran Turismo variety.
I am interested because you've played the other 2 contenders, and I'm a bit worried that Gran Turismo is coming out after those 2 as well. I worry if third in the...
Tim's got a stake in the company.
Will it get forgotten about a bit? But how does it play in comparison from what you've played?
It sits somewhere between the 2, I would say. So it's obviously, they call it a beta, but it's a demo.
Is it very much a slice of the game?
They've learned a lot of lessons from Forza, I would say. So there's library editors, all that kind of stuff. So you can really personalise your cars a bit more. And the driving feels more like Project Cars than Forza, which is Forza's underlying kind of sim model is pretty forgiving of you barreling it into a corner far too fast.
Yeah.
Whereas Gran Turismo is much more like, it's not as severe as Project Cars, but
it's
certainly
on
you can't just get away with
scale.
Yeah, you can't get away with just randomly hooning stuff. It feels that the cars have a bit more momentum to them. But it's kind of pretty.
I think it looks alright, but I guess you're not playing in HDR though, no?
No.
Because apparently a lot of people are saying it looks really pretty.
I can imagine it would look great in HDR, but it's, because there's been Forza in the past couple of weeks, because there's been Project Cars in the past couple of weeks, it's like, there's another racing game, and bar kind of people who note differences in simulation models and like the particular feel of one game over another. There's not really a lot to set Gran Turismo Sport apart at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're keeping some details close to their chest. I mean, the big kind of selling point for Uber racing nerds is that the online mode is actually considered a FIA, so that's the governing body of motorsport. It's considered an official tournament of theirs. So, and there's actually, I think, the past couple of weeks, like you've heard of this GT Academy stuff, where they kind of get they set a global time trial challenge, and then they get the best 100 people or so, and then kind of select from them people who actually compete in real races. And I think they did very well in Le Mans not so long ago. But the whole thing is, and I think Gran Turismo's always done this a bit, it just feels a bit devoid of character. It feels
I was
going
to say
sterile.
soulless, and sterile was the other word I'd use as well.
And
they have tried to add a splash of colour here and there, like the things you unlock, as you progress through the different things. And I like the fact that you can unlock things for just driving more distance kind of stuff.
And I think that's quite cool.
Yeah.
And I actually think that Forza could learn something from that, the kind of having the gameplay loop, not just being you drive a car and go really fast and beat the other cars, but actually, hey, if you do a little bit every day, you start unlocking some really cool rewards that make your car look unique. And I think that's a really, really nice mechanic. But you're right, the whole thing just feels a bit soulless. It's
all about the cars and nothing about the people driving the cars, you know what I mean? And that feels like a missing element.
Well, Project Cars does, I suppose, kind of put you in a, kind of pretends that you're an actual racing driver and does the F1 2016, 17, 18 thing of like you've got an email inbox, you get messages from your pretend race engineer and your pretend team boss, and kind of make you feel that you're an integral part of that. And
Forza Horizon puts another spin on that, even with kind of like having the guy that's telling you what's going on over the comms and all that type of stuff. And I mean, it's a very slick and clean thing. I mean, if I had to kind of characterize them as cars, I would say Forza's a Lamborghini, where it's big and loud and a bit mental. But hard to drive.
Project Cars is like a Nissan GTR, where it's a very powerful thing, very finely tuned thing that you're only going to get the most out of if you're a complete gearhead. Whereas Gran Turismo very much felt like a Mercedes.
Yeah, a bit safe.
It's very, very safe, very utilitarian, very... everything's a bit obfuscated and kind of hidden behind the scenes. And, I don't know, it's a very difficult thing. I mean, I think that at its core, it's a great driving game. And, as the community grows around it, doubtless it's going to get better. And they certainly look like they've got hooks in for, like, worldwide challenges, competitions, ladders, that kind of stuff. And that's going to be really great.
Some of the presentation and some of the, like, having, like, all the, like, quite high links with, all the official garages and stuff makes for a really nice bits of presentation like that. I don't know how much you looked at the museum stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did.
But that's really well presented and really nice. And even, I don't know if you saw, but they had a whole history of Gran Turismo as well, basically. So you can go through all the games and it has a timeline of different world events that were going on at the same time as the events above them, and from either the games or the car garages and stuff like that. And that side of things is just really, really nicely presented and really well done, and it feels like high quality, but it feels like a really nice addition to the package that the type of person that likes that game will appreciate, type of thing, and it feels very well loved.
Yeah, I mean, but
the soulless thing.
But I suppose that's been a trope of Gran Turismo for quite a while, to be honest. And in years gone past, it didn't really matter since there was nothing else that really competed with it, certainly in like the PS2 days. But now it just kind of feels that it just needs that little bit of soul in it.
It needs a bit of personality, and the other games feel like they talk to you as a player, and this doesn't, kind of thing. It feels very silent.
Yeah, I mean, however, I think there may also be a kind of a bit of a cultural differentiation here that, you have to remember that Gran Turismo is a very, very kind of Japanese-styled game where, kind of Japanese design tends to be a bit more prescriptive.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It tends to be a bit more, here's how we think you should play it, here's how it is, here are the features, you need to kind of work within these parameters, whereas kind of...
Yeah.
Stuff like Forza is a bit like a kid with ADD. It's, it can't quite work out which firecracker it wants to light first to show off to you,
One thing I couldn't quite work out from the demo, though, was the level of progression and exactly how that will work out. They have said that any cars you unlock in the demo will carry over to the main game, but that seemed like a very restrictive list of cars. I don't know if you tried to buy any of the cars in the garages, but it mostly said,
they just
not available. No.
Yeah. God damn it.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know, for me, the big draw for this over the other two is the PSVR link up. But it's a bit limited because it's only one-on-one races, and it's a bit of a shame that they didn't have this in the demo. But yeah, it is a big tick in the box for Gran Turismo for me, basically. And I don't mind a driving game. I found I was flip-flopping when playing the demo between, I could see me playing this and actually playing it for a while and getting into it. And all the licensing stuff and all that kind of does bring back good associations of memories, and I kind of like how they've presented some of that stuff. But I could see it going through and just playing it. I could do going through and trying to get gold on everything might frustrate me, kind of thing. It's that kind of level of I'm not sure how much I'll get out of the game. It's difficult to see because some of the cars I thought were controlled fine and were fun to race with, but a few of the cars seemed no, this is a bit more difficult than I would like, type of thing. And I don't know whether to ram it down into easy mode because it didn't seem to penalise you that much for doing so, no? I
mean, I think the problem with it is that actually the options that you can go into menus and really customise it, but easy is really easy. It's hey, just hold the controller, dude. That's all you need to do. It's we'll do the steering for you, we'll do the brakes, we'll do the accelerator, we'll do the gears, you can have traction control, and you're not actually really playing it. And actually for some people to jump up to medium where a lot of that stuff is turned off might be a bit too much. And one of the things that, Forza does very well is straddling that arcadey simulation divide. But I think Forza wants to be a very different game to Gran Turismo. I think Gran Turismo, by design, is actually, they've made it a little bit of a black box. You don't quite know how it all works, and you've got to figure it all out yourself. But
I think the demo kind of convinced me that what I will probably do is possibly try and rent this when it comes out and then look to pick it up when it's a bit cheaper.
And, frankly, there's a lot of... Because, if you haven't picked up Project Cars on PlayStation, it's a no-brainer. But to me, it feels a bit archaic in some ways. From a technical point of view, it's a beautiful, beautiful game. It's very cleanly designed. But it feels a bit like what was considered good user experience back in 2004 or 2005.
But I don't know. I think there are elements of this that will appeal to anyone that's got, solid memories and happy memories of the previous games as well. And I think there are quite a lot of people that fit into that category. And with them now having what they didn't have in the PS3 generation, with them having, the more dominance of the market in terms of consoles out there, perhaps this will do well for them. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. Because after, a bit of time, it just came out just at the wrong time, just after two big kind of closest rivals got out a couple of weeks ahead of it. It's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, well, I can tell you something though. It's gonna, no matter what, it's gonna sell like ruddy gangbusters. But yeah, I'm gonna be interested to see how it reviews. I think it is gonna review well. And, it's a real kind of staple of the PlayStation platform. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But because I've recently picked up Forza, I'm probably not going to pick it up. But like you, I might, give it a rent or wait till it comes down in price or something, and get my jollies on that way, Coleman. So Coleman,
yeah.
You bought a Switch.
I did,
and you sent the Switch back.
It was
and
broken.
Like a boomerang, it has now found its way back to you again.
No. It was all pretty much bent like a boomerang as well.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I spoke about on the show last week. I got an Amazon warehouse deal. The thing turned up destroyed. I sent it back. They wouldn't honour the same price because it was like a one-time thing.
Really?
Yeah, I got a refund.
Yeah, I think that's BS myself. But
yeah, well, I got a refund, and then I went out to game, and then I walked out of game because they're crap.
Is it because we won't sell you a Switch unless you buy £4 million worth of accessories?
No, it's because no one's manning the bloody till. No one's there to serve me. It's rubbish.
They're all on Amazon scalping that SNES Mini stock.
That's it. Well, if you remember not that long ago, there used to be a lot of game stores in central London. Then they all got closed down, and then they opened up a new one in Soho. And it is the worst game store I've ever been to.
Oh.
Just going to say that. I'm going to put it out. I'm going to shame them.
Boo.
Like 3 times in this month, I've been in there and had problems. Like,
For shame.
I went in there to buy a copy of Destiny, and like the guy, like he was going to serve me, and then the phone rang, and he went and started talking on the phone, and that's when I spotted first before he started talking about Switch bundles and stuff, and it annoyed me. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to go to HMV and buy this there instead.
I mean, it's a good job you're not a grumpy old git and aren't, complaining incessantly about it.
When I go to game, it's after I finish the 12-hour shift overnight, and I'm quite knackered. And as well, because it doesn't open like as soon as my shift's finished, I've been waiting around for a good hour as well. So, yeah. And then I went in there. So after I had my balls up with Amazon, I went, do you know what? I'm just going to go to a store and buy one. And I went back to that game store like an idiot. I walked in and there was no one there to serve me. And then there was 2 guys walking around in game uniforms. I was like, hey, could one of you guys serve me? I'd like to buy a Switch. They're like, no, we work downstairs. So what's downstairs? Oh, you play games downstairs. I was like, could I buy the Switch and I'll play it downstairs? And some guy's going to come and help you. And no one turned up. So I went off and I went back to HMV. HMV's getting a lot of custom out of me this month. So I went and bought my Switch there instead.
Hey!
And then I went back to that game like a muggins because HMV, they sell Switches but not games or accessories or anything. And I figured I could do with a protective case for my Switch. So I went into game and they've got all the shelves and all the stuff hanging off the shelves and you look like you can grab something and take it to the till like a normal store. But then they put these locks over the front of them so you can't actually take anything off. But they've stacked like loads of product on there. It's insanity.
But Coleman, how else are they going to sell you that extremely lucrative and valuable game VIP membership?
I don't have a VIP membership. Do I have I've got a game card.
I mean, because that's the thing. When I popped in there recently, it was like, could you get one of those off the... Would you like to become an elite VIP member? No.
But the thing is, because I went, hey, man, could you... I'd like to buy a Switch case and a hardcover for the screen. And he went, oh, don't worry, the cover comes with the case. I went, hardcover? He goes, yeah. I know, all right. Can I buy the case then? And they don't come and take it off the shelf with all the stock there. They go out the back and go rooting around looking for one. And that took him ages. And then he comes out, and then I take the thing home and I open it up, and it's a film protector, not a hard case like I asked for. But anyway.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, game's rubbish. I've had enough of game. I really
Death of the High Street, ladies and gentlemen.
Like, HMV for a high street store I used to hate when I lived in Portsmouth. They're actually really, really good in London. So, hey, if you can find one. And if you have the ability, then maybe you will hire.
Maybe
HMV.
you too.
Switch.
Anyway,
long story short,
placement with no bloody advertising. Come on.
HMV, you'll float too. Anyway, I bought
HMV supporting small business.
That's their catchphrase. I bought a Switch, and this time instead of the grey one, I got the neon one, and it's all shiny and it's lovely. I exactly as I thought. I haven't put it in cradle mode once. I use it on the tube. I use it on the sofa. I use it on the toilet.
Good work. That's what we like.
It's a great little console, and I picked up Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Hey, now that is a game I'm very, very, very keen on playing, but I can't justify the cost of a Switch.
Yes. I played it before. Spoke about it on the show. I played a couple of hours of it. I really enjoyed it. I've got a little bit further than I did then. I've got out the kind of starting area and started actually wandering around and doing the actual story now. I love this game. And everyone's spoken about Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild now. I'll probably have more to say towards the sort of Golden Barrel Awards era when we're talking about this stuff.
Towards the 90-hour mark.
Yeah, towards the 90-hour mark. I had an interesting moment though, because I spoke about I took a couple of the reason I played Zelda on the Switch originally is because my friend called me up and went, "Hey, bought a Switch. Could you bring around some Zelda amiibo? Because we want to try that out and see how that works." But then when I turned up with it and told them what they do, they go, "Oh, we don't want to like cheat in the game, so you start a profile and you use it." So I did that. I sat down
You're the amiibo man.
I sat down with my box of amiibo, and one after the other scanned all my amiibo to see like how much cool stuff I'd get. Not a lot, mostly food. Like when I first did it, I got like cool boomerangs and awesome, really strong shields and swords and stuff. This time I did it, food, just loads and loads of food.
Nom nom.
It's telling you something, Coleman.
Yeah, and I forgot this happens. I scanned Ganondorf. When you scan Ganondorf, it brings in, it just instantly spawns in enemies, and all the enemies in the area for a limited time. I think they have like double the hit ratio.
Jesus.
Yeah, you take double damage, and when you've just started out and you've only got 3 hearts, that's a really dumb mistake to make.
That's not fun for anybody.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. And then I got drunk and I bought what's the game called? Stardew Valley.
I like the fact you had to add in you got drunk.
Yeah, because my friend was talking about Stardew Valley and he goes, "Oh, Stardew Valley, they're going to be adding the multiplayer and it's just launched on Switch." What I heard is Switch versions have multiplayer. So I went, "Bought it." And he goes, "The multiplayer's coming next year." I went, "Didn't need to buy it."
Damn it.
But I think it was like $11.99 or $10.99.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah, and like I know so many people that have really gotten into this game, like big fans of Harvest Moon back in the day, but Harvest Moon kind of went a bit, I don't know, samey, a bit casual, and then this one's meant to be a more in-depth version, which I like the idea of.
Because I hear that Golf Story's meant to be good as well.
Yeah, I'm not picking that up just because I hear. Well, I might pick it up, but one of my friends is playing it. He seems to enjoy it. I watched him for a bit. I don't think there's enough there to kind of catch me on it, but a lot of people really seem to be enjoying. I don't play golf games, Tim.
It's a golf RPG. It looks really cute.
I'm sure it looks lovely. It's not.
I might buy it for your Switch.
Aw, what a guy.
Yeah, but we've got to set Tim up on a profile and he can play some Zelda and stuff.
Awesome.
That's a nice kind of guy I am. But Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Go play that. It's really good.
Yeah, really want to. Don't have a Switch.
Looking forward to getting me some Mario Kart and the Mario Odyssey.
Oh, yeah, I am very tempted to pick up a Switch at some point.
And I tried some Pokken Tournament and it's really good.
Hey!
Yeah, now I want 2 Pro Pads so I can play it properly.
2-player, yay!
Because,
Did you just get the demos of that then?
I don't want to play on Joy-Cons. They're too tiny. Too tiny.
Too tiny for my big man hands.
Right, one other thing I will mention quickly, if I can squeeze it in. I've only just started playing it because I've been stupidly nerd fluid up, and like flu or colds and VR is not a good mix, as I've learned. Sneezing with headsets on, not fun.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, exactly. But the Solus Project is one I've been looking forward to for a while. It's a kind of longer game, like 15 hours or so, they reckon. But it's a kind of survival game, like when you're kind of crash landed on an alien planet type thing. Basically, the background story is that Earth has kind of been... Earth and a lot of the solar system got destroyed.
Burninated!
Thank you, Coleman.
A few hundred years in the future sort of thing. And everyone else, made a kind of... There's a cluster of ships that are in a safe zone near Pluto type thing. And they've sent various scouting parties out to try and find habitable planets to get to, and you're on one of these missions, but the ship kind of crash lands as you get there. And yeah, you can turn various options down as to how difficult you want it to be. Basically, the game starts at like 100% difficulty and can go all the way up to 200 or down from that kind of thing, which was a bit odd. But yeah, like you very much have to scavenge for everything like food, water, and generally like fire or a heat source.
Scavenge for fire. You've got to put it in your pocket. There's the challenge.
Yes, but you've got to scavenge for a pipe and then some burnable stuff to wrap around the pipe, and then light the pipe on an engine so that you can light a fire in the cave that you're taking shelter in, and that type of stuff. So yeah, it's all different. And as I said, I've only literally just started scratching the surface of that. But one of the reasons why I'm mentioning it as well is because I had an interview with the CEO of the company that made it, the kind of main designer as well, type thing. And yeah, that's up on BigRedBarel, so you can read that if you are so interested. But yeah, just getting a kind of perspective of what it was like to build the game in VR. It's something that's been out on, I think, Xbox One for a while already, and I think possibly PC as well. But it seemed to review higher in VR, or be more critically acclaimed in VR than it was in just its general release, because it seems like a game that seems particularly suitable for the kind of atmospheric immersion that the VR kind of lends to it, basically. The only issue I've had with it so far is I was struggling to get all the things that I needed and get shelter on one of the first evenings, and I literally died. I was dying of hypothermia and hunger, and I wasn't sure which one was going to kill me quicker, and I died with a can of food in one hand and a torch in the other. I was like, no.
Man, you must have been really sick.
So close.
If you were playing the part of a wino.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, I said you've got to kind of got to scavenge everything. But from what I've heard from other people that have played through it as well, it's well thought of, basically, but something I have to get a bit more grips with. But I will come back to that in the future. Also, Bloody Zombies, I kind of put on hold just because I literally only played a bit last night, and then it's going to be one that's more fun in multiplayer, and Coleman hasn't been around, so we'll play that this week at some point as well, hopefully, even though he's very much looking forward to WWE 2K18.
Oh, yeah.
Comes out in mere hours.
Yes.
Dear God, you're like me on Destiny Day. Have you been
really
loading up your PS4 to look at the countdown every now and again?
Yeah.
So yeah, well, that's what we've done playing, and next week is going to be just all about wrestling, probably, I'd imagine.
And Shadow of War.
Oh, yes.
Because I got Shadow of War, and I just haven't had the time to play it because it didn't work.
I haven't played that yet. But also, I've pre-ordered another game that I'm really looking forward to that's coming out, I think, in about 5 days as well. So hopefully you might get a taster of that before next week.
What game is that, Timothy?
Megaton Rainfall. It's another VR game, but I was watching a developer interview with that today, and yeah, it just looks really interesting. You're a kind of superhero, like being up robots.
Oh!
Like all the collateral damage, can damage the buildings around you type of thing.
Yeah.
But then you can also fly up to the moon and then go from the moon and land in different places on Earth. And
wasn't this the one that had the kind of... This had a kind of disappointing tech demo, and then it went away for a few years, and it's come back, and everyone's gone, this looks amazing!
Yeah, oh my God, this looks so good! Yeah, the first trailers looked rubbish, and the later ones look so fantastic that the developers even toning down some of the expectations from what that video revealed, because it looks like literally you can just take off from many places around the Earth and then just fly around the universe and fly to different planets and stuff. But it definitely has an element of that to it, almost leaping from one planet to the other and stuff like that. So anyway, I'll be very interested to see how that comes out, especially as it's not exactly a high price as well. So
I'm looking forward to Tim playing the VR component of WWE 2K18.
I've also been playing another game that isn't out yet for VR, but it's a non-VR game.
Games come from on the agenda
with a VR content, but just things I kind of mentioned quickly. But a Syndrome, which I'll probably talk about more next week as well. But yeah, that's a kind of limited ammo thing in space. But the VR content's a survival mode thing, basically. But yeah,
when's Hidden Agenda out?
Huh?
When's Hidden? Did you just turn away from your mic there? When's Hidden Agenda out? I want to play that.
Yeah, that's out soon, I think. Couple of weeks, maybe.
We should play that.
But that's one to definitely pick up as well.
Splendid.
Good.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dan, what do you want to play that hasn't come out yet?
Destiny 3? How's
Destiny
that?
3, yeah. Oh, mate, I
That's
can't...
all he cares about.
Oh! Sorry, just to go off topic again. Have you seen this video where they basically got 3 different professional BMXers to play with these basically hydro-powered Sparrow replicas?
Right.
No.
They're full-scale replicas of sparrows, but they're powered by these jets of water, and you just fly them out over the sea.
Oh, that's quite cool.
And I'm watching it going, this is cool, but you don't want to pull professionals in. You want to get me, Dan, and Tim in.
Yeah, you do.
You want to see us genuinely injure each other, trying to do the Sparrow Racing League on the water down the Thames.
It'd be amazing.
Crashing into a
Well,
half-submerged shopping trolley.
Yeah, we're either going to die whilst doing it or subsequently catch typhoid or something like that from the
Just
Thames.
syringes flying out all over the place.
Lovely. Yes. So,
I have to
and actually
catch up
talking
with
of
what you're thinking of Destiny as well at some point.
yeah. Also, just briefly talking of Destiny, I will do the quick shout out here. I just want to say thank you to Kev, Diomed, Y2 Rich, Blizzy Boy.
Why too rich?
Why too rich? Why?
Why rich?
Why too
Why
rich?
rich? Why rich? Why?
Is that
God
like
damn it,
Y2J?
Yeah.
Break the walls
why
down.
not? Yeah. Why
Yeah.
not?
But
Has he got
richer.
the list of rich?
No.
And if you cross
No.
him, he's like, "You just made the list," and then he puts your name down on the list.
Christ.
Also, no walls of rich.
And when you're on the list, you get it.
No.
Okay. These wrestling references doing anything for you?
Really not.
Maybe
I was also
off-
going to.
maybe
I was
next
also going to
week,
thank
Coleman.
Jamie as well. Jamie,
Yeah.
Jamie, aka Smash Soul. We all
I
done
know that
beated
guy.
it. We all done beated it the raid. And if you're in the BRB
Yay.
Destiny 2 clan, you got some free stuff as a result of us being awesome.
I'm in Destiny.
Let's go talk to
maybe.
Bird Lady.
Yeah, go talk to Crazy Bird Lady.
I won't do that.
What's Sir got this weekend?
I don't know. He's not here yet. Misery and disappointment. I don't know.
Dan's Destiny corner.
Yes.
love it.
Anyway, Tim.
Yes.
You don't have a corner, you have a whole bar. And you go to it on Tuesdays, and things are going to happen in that bar. Tell the good people of the internet what's happening.
Jimmy's not going to like it if you call his bar a hole.
Yeah, it's not my bar. It's kind of I kind of help things for the one Tuesday evening that I'm there. But if anyone that doesn't know what we're vaguely stabbing at, it's the fact that every Tuesday we have an event called Tabletop Tuesday at the Loading Bar in Dalston. And each and every week we have a different feature game. And if you play that feature game that evening, you have a chance of winning a copy of that game at the end of the evening. And this week's one's a real doozy. It's a fun party game called Spyfall 2.
Spyfall.
Sequel to the fun Spyfall game where you're kind of a spy trying to work out where you are and everyone else knows where you are and has to ask questions without giving away information to the spy. But yeah, it's really good fun, and Spyfall 2 kind of ups the player count to 12 and ups the amounts of spies to 2, so it kind of does expand the game somewhat, and then there's just loads of new locations. So yeah, this is a good one to come along and play. If you haven't played before, we'll get some groups together and just kind of get some fun games of this going. It should be a good one to come for anyone that hasn't been along before. It's a good game to jump in on and meet a few people at once while doing so. But yeah, come along and possibly win a copy just by playing it on the evening as well.
Of what game?
Well, that sounds splendid.
Spyfall 2
Spyfall.
at Loading Bar in Dalston on
And it
Tuesday the 17th of October.
Sorry.
Crumble. I do like a crumble.
I do love an apple crumble.
I love a crumble.
Or a rhubarb
I
crumble.
quite like a rhubarb and pear crumble.
Rhubarb and pear, you saucy b****.
I know.
That's all.
Gets me
kinds of messed
right
up,
in the
Dan.
vestibular
I
system.
think that's two of my least favourite fruits.
I like apple blackberry.
See, now that can be a bit too tart.
I do like a tart.
I know you do. You slag.
Crumbles, not tarts.
Sorry. I realised what I said as I said it.
Yeah, anywho, we're going to get out of here. But we're going to say thank you to a couple of people first. I've already said thank you to my raid team, so I'm going to leave everyone else to the mellifluous vocal cords of Coleman and Tim.
I was going to jump in and say thank you very much to Stingo and Stealthy Joe, who also came along to Tabletop Tuesday this week. Nice to see you as always, Dave.
Splendid.
Yay. Thank you on Twitter to the sexy Rob Evans, the okay Richard Kirk, and the delightful
He's
Will
more than
Driver.
okay.
Yeah, and so thank you one and all for coming along and saying hello and stuff. But that's it for this week,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
Coleman needs to go to bed.
What?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, whoa,
Yeah.
29
Hey,
hours and a
Grandpa.
quarter.
29 hours. It's like extra life warm up.
Kill me.
You're going to stay up and edit though now, Coleman, yeah?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, Tim. Back to the BRB
kidding,
sweatshop
Jesus.
for you.
Okay, boss.
Podcast might be a day or so late this week, mainly not because of Coleman sleeping, but because he'll be playing wrestling for the next 25 hours.
Wrestling.
Could
Wrestling.
we give a shout for the Big Red Barrel Extra Life team?
Yes,
I
do
think
that.
we
Maybe
should.
get some of that fundraising.
Yes.
Fundraising is fundraising.
I love raisins.
Fundraising.
Give us funds for raisins.
Yes.
Someone else talk about it.
Timothy, off you go.
Anyone that doesn't know, 4th of November this year is this year's Extra Life. Every year we do a 24-hour sponsored gaming event. I don't know, gentlemen. I'm not sure I can make it many years beyond this one. So please, someone come and sponsor me this year. It may be your last chance to do so. I may have to do other things. Yeah, become Soylent Green. But I may have to do other things to like help support things in here. It's becoming a real struggle for me, and I tend to get ill afterwards at this time of year. But we'll see how I do.
I must admit this year, I don't know if I'm going to do full 24 or if I'm going to do 12 and 12.
Yeah, do 12 and 12 and then do one the week before so you can plug everything for
I was going
everyone.
to do 12 on Saturday and 12 on Sunday, mate.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah.
I'd
But
like to
I
do
don't
the
know.
24.
I might end up doing the full 24.
I want to do the full 24, but if I might not be able to do it on the day because work.
Yeah.
Boo.
But I don't know what the plans are streaming-wise because I think Alex is planning on streaming some stuff with Julia, which might preclude where I'm doing stuff. But if so, I'd like to try and stream some VR stuff and see how many hours I can do that for, possibly at some point. But yeah, anyway, please, there's lots of people that have already got their Extra Life pages going. I'm planning on doing mine tomorrow, so hopefully by the time you hear this podcast, mine will be up and ready as well. But please come along and sponsor any one of us that you like. Basically, anyone that doesn't know, we haven't drilled this home enough. We're not professionals. We don't get paid for doing this. I think this is one of the only things that we ask from you from a financial standpoint. We don't do the Patreon thing. Perhaps we should, but that's another conversation for another time, perhaps. But yeah, the one thing that we do ask every year and have done so for since the beginning, because a lot of us were with Sarcastic Gamer when Doc, the creator of this, actually founded the movement. So it's something that we're kind of like to get behind. But yeah, the sponsored charity gaming event helps raise money for children's hospitals in America, which a lot of people have a hard time saying, raising a hospital for in a country that's, kind of cash rich and etc. But I always kind of say,
not everyone's cash rich in America, though.
Well, that's the problem as well. It's one of those things where, okay, they should have a better situation, but they don't. Also, some of these hospitals do take in people from abroad because they've got specialist things.
The Canadian one especially.
Yeah,
there's one over in Canada, and they basically.
Yeah, if you don't want to race for America, go race for Canada.
Well, they basically pay for people over the world to be brought in for treatment.
But I think
Canada's essentially English anyway.
Yeah.
If there's a kid who's sick, does it really matter what country they're in?
Exactly. That's always my
to
argument.
Me, it doesn't.
Where does
So
it
go
matter
raise
in the
the
world
monies.
you're saving a life of a child? You know what I mean? It really shouldn't matter. But look, one of those things, we do ask that people put their hands in the pocket once a year and just kind of any one of us, a Big Red Barrel that you like, or anyone that you want to contribute to, any amount would be appreciated. I kind of
and as a bonus, you get to watch us slowly lose our minds over 24 hours
in the early hours of the morning on live streams, or the next day on whatever we manage to put up video wise. We don't stream very often. This one thing we like to do that for. If for any reason you don't like us, but you're listening to us, then by all means go and sponsor someone else. Giant Bomb are doing big guns this year, and a lot of the other big people have got involved. But it's charity near and dear to our hearts because it's something that a lot of us helped set up. In the first place, help set up is a bit of an overstretch possibly, but we're there for the inception of and something that we've liked to support since the beginning. So, please come along, support one of us, support someone, support something, do something good.
Or join the Big Red
gaming.
Barrel team and do your own fundraising.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. You're always welcome to do that. Please join us. Obviously, there's some responsibility ways of doing a 24-hour gaming event, and please take on some of the advice they do have on the website and stuff like that. But extralife.org, and then you can find a lot of us on there through the Big Red Barrel team as well. So.
I believe it's extra-life.org.
Oh, sorry, Extra Life. Yeah.
Money raised can save, or money raised or money donated can save a child's life. And you know who saves children's lives? Batman. And don't you want to be Batman? Everyone wants to be Batman.
This is your chance to be a
goddamn
real life
Batman.
hero.
Quickly.
With your microtransactions.
I want to be Adam West Batman.
Do you? Really?
Yeah. Do you?
Oh, mate, when I grow up, I want to be Adam West Batman.
We got through a whole show this week with thin news, and we didn't mention loot boxes once. Not once.
We almost did.
So, anyway, we are going to disappear now because it's getting quite late and we all need to go and do things. Coleman needs to sleep before he spends 48 hours playing wrestling games. And, so we're going to bid you adieu, ladies and gentlemen. So, I have been Dan.
I might have been Tim. It's possible.
I've been Batman.
Why do we fall down, Master Coleman?
Quickly, old chum, slide down my bat pole.
Oh, finish on a bat pole
Jesus
reference.
Christ. Batman and Nobbin.
Oh, you set him off now. He's going to do any minute. He's going to do
How does Alfred call Batman in for his dinner?
I don't know, Coleman.
Go on, Dan.
Come on, he set you up for it, Dan. Come on,
Right.
Just do it. Just pull off the bloody plaster.
Dinner, Batman.
Yay!
Yeah. And
that joke after all this time causes me physical pain.
good. And just because you hate fun, Timothy.
Obviously.
No, you do. You don't like platformers. You don't like that joke. Ergo, you hate fun.
Exactly. Definitely.
Good.
Yep.
I'm glad you agree. So, we've really got to go. You've got to go and do something else, I'm sure, dear listeners. And, so until next time, toodle bye.
You and your ears are quite welcome.
For the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
To BigRedBarel.com.
for more podcasts?
News, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet. BigRedBarel.com.